Hello. I'm back again trying to undermine your prejudices against art, trying to break down the barriers that we've been talking about this week that keep you from getting to know and enjoy works of art. And today I have in mind attacking one of the very largest and most difficult of all, and one that for many people I can't do anything about. Some of those people are quite famous people and very distinguished, and they would hold that there is no possible judgment in a work of art except the judgment of, I like it. Given that you are a sensitive or intelligent or knowledgeable person, that if you like this work of art, that then it becomes all that it needs to be. It becomes a great work of art. Now, if I try to beat through that prejudice, I'm attacking something that is maybe a little too large for me, but I go right ahead anyway. Because if I didn't believe that there is such a thing as judgment in a work of art, I wouldn't be here at all. I would never think of trying to make any such judgment unless I believed in it, unless I thought that you could do it and that I can do it, and that it isn't just a matter of personal whim. Now, one of the first things that people say is a means of judgment that is a little beyond yourself is the idea that time acts as a judge in art. That the very passage of time is the only way that you can make such a judgment. Just plain T-I-M-E, time. Time passing in terms of centuries, time passing in terms of a few years. Time passing will really sift out from all of the things which are produced the things which are not really very good, and leave for us, you see, this handful of valuable works of art. And that the only thing that can do this kind of sifting is time. Now, I don't know whether it's just because I'm hard-headed or you know, contrary or whatever it may be. I don't like that way of judging art. I don't like it for one very good reason, which is that then you never get to do any judging, really. You see, the judgment's all made for you. You can't do anything except accept. And then also, I think, well, what about who were the people in this passing time who made the judgments, and on what basis did they make them? You see, time itself is not anything that is a personal and active thing. Time consists of people who have made these judgments, people who have saved this and thrown away that. It isn't time as something going by on a clock or going by on a calendar. It's people who have made this judgment. And therefore I refuse to use that as a standard. Then, you see, all you could do would be judge very ancient works of art. And that prevents you from judging the things that are in your own time. Now, I believe that there is a possibility of judgment in art. I believe this absolutely. I believe it against a great many authorities' opinion. I believe it against many people's ideas about anything having the kind of absoluteness that judgment means. I think that I can demonstrate that to you. Let me make you a picture. I don't know whether you'll call it a picture or not, but I'll make it anyway. Suppose I make it with my eyes shut and turned around backwards. And there's some eyes and a nose and mouth, hands. Oh, I'm off the paper. Well, it's quite nice. I'm cheating a little now and looking. Now, there's a picture. There's a picture, no doubt about it, if you say that anything that is made by a human being is a picture. Now, I ask you, because if you can set up any kind of judgment in which you believe, you can keep narrowing that judgment. I ask you to look at this just for a second, because too long certainly might be corrupting, and ask yourself, is there any difference in value, just value, between this and this. Now, if you can say there is a difference in value between those two things, then you have already set up a judgment. It isn't because this is old, because this isn't an original picture. It is a reproduction of a painting, which is the Tempe Madonna by Raphael. But this, as a reproduction, is worth, well, infinitely more than the one you saw me make. And furthermore, it's worth it to everyone. I mean everyone. The only person whom it might not be worth more would be someone who is desperately in love with me, and with me, just me, so that anything that I made, or anything that I had anything to do with, would be immediately more worthwhile. In other words, it would be a completely personal judgment. If, on the other hand, anyone else said that they thought this is more of a work of art than that, you would have to right away question their judgment. Wonder. Just exactly as much as you would if somebody came in the room and you had here 2 plus 2 equals 4 and 3 plus 82 equals 16. And the person said, I think that this is a true statement and this is false. Now, all this is mathematics. It is not something which is absolute in terms of the mind. It's a creation, absolute in terms of any kind of necessarily objective world. It's absolute in terms of it being a product of the human mind. And anyone who preferred this equation over this equation would be actually exercising preference and nothing else, paying no attention to the whole structure of mathematics, paying no attention to what everyone else believed. And if the person came in and chose this over this, you would have every reason to wonder why he did. You would have the same reason, because the work of art has a structure, it has a meaning, not as precise as mathematics, thank heaven. I'm extremely grateful that it hasn't. But it has a meaning, and it has a coherence and a consistency that has been true of it over a very long period of time, longer than mathematics, actually. And if your preferences are as idle and as personal as the preference of this over that, then you are in some way deeply prejudiced. Now, you might say that this didn't take me long to make, and that therefore it couldn't be as valuable, whereas the other one took a longer time to make. Let me show you a slide for a moment. A slide which took no longer to, a slide of a painting which took no longer to make than this took to make, but which is, again, almost infinitely more valuable. That value is translatable into money. It's translatable, and don't please think that money is so completely vulgar and so entirely out of the question. It isn't. Money is a reflection of value given over a long period of time often. It has meaning in relation to the products of man. It has meaning in relation to man himself. And that little drawing, because it is a drawing that I showed you, that took no longer to make than the thing you saw me make. Took no longer, perhaps, in terms of the amount of training that went into making it. And yet, the difference in them is so great that I can stand here and tear this up. And I think no one will be alarmed, or almost no one, if I even so much as broke that slide that you saw. I'd be out at least $2. This costs me nothing to tear up. If I should tear up this reproduction, you see, not even an original work, reproduction of the Raphael, I would, I would be seriously criticized. And I think criticized not only because it would cost money, but also because you would probably feel inside of yourself some kind of loss. You would feel that this is something of value beyond money. This is something of genuine human value. And to see it destroyed might be actually acutely painful to you. Not just because it is the Madonna Child. Not just because it is a famous painting. But because it may be able to speak to you. To say something to you which is humanly important. And this is the basis of my judgment. That is, my judgment is a human judgment. It has to do with the nature of man. It has to do with being a human being. It is, in this way, absolute. And it is as long as we are human beings, we will probably judge in this way. We will probably feel, no matter how many years or how many centuries pass, or how many civilizations rise and fall, as long as there are people, I believe, and this is an act of faith, I believe that that reproduction of the Raphael is worth more than that scrawl that I made. Worth more because the one is a work of art and judgment is possible in art. I'll see you